Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to tackle one of the biggest and honestly one of the most confusing buzzwords in tech right now, agentic AI. We're going to cut right through all that noise and give you a simple, powerful framework to understand what these systems can actually do.
Book me a flight to Berlin for Thursday. Just 5 little words. It sounds so incredibly simple, doesn't it?
But that one simple request, it represents a massive, massive leap. It's the huge difference between software that just answers your questions and software that actually acts for you. When a model can take that sentence and really book the flight, checking your calendar, looking at your preferences, well, something fundamental has totally changed.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Because this brand new capability has a name, and that's exactly where all the confusion starts. The word is agentic.
Here's the thing. The word agentic has been slapped on pretty much everything. A chatbot that has a search button, people are calling it agentic. A really complex, self-correcting research program, that's agentic too. The word's been stretched so thin that it's become almost meaningless. It tells you next to nothing about what a system can truly do.
Now, what's really cool is that there's a simple fix for all this confusion. We don't need another buzzword. Nope. We just need a better way to think about this whole thing.
And that fix is a ladder, a super straightforward 5-rung framework that lets us precisely place any AI system and understand what it's really capable of. And this ladder is going to be our guide for the rest of this explainer.
So, you ready? Let's start our climb and see how this all builds from the ground up, going from the most basic stuff to the most complex.
Right at the very bottom on rung 1, we've got chat. This is that classic LLM experience we all know. You ask it a question, it spits out a text answer. It's all happening inside that chat window. It can't touch the outside world at all.
Now let's take one step up to rung 2. This is tool using chat. So here, the model can actually reach for tools, but only within a single turn. It could do a quick web search for you, or maybe use a calculator, or look something up in a database. But the key thing here is that you, the human, are still in the loop for every single step.
Okay, now we're getting to rung 3, workflow. This is where the model starts to execute a whole multi-step sequence all on its own. Think about asking it to draft a report using 3 different sources. You kick things off, the model does the work, and then you come in at the end to review the final product. Honestly, most of what's being sold as AI automation these days lives right here on this rung.
Rung 4. This is where we find the true agent. And this is a huge jump. Here, the model operates with real, meaningful autonomy. It can plan, it can fix its own mistakes, and it can take actual actions in the world, like sending an email or, you guessed it, booking that flight to Berlin. You set the goal and draw the boundaries, and the agent just goes to work inside that space.
And this just brilliantly shows you the crucial difference, right? With a workflow, your job is to kick it off and then check the final work. But with an agent, your job is to set the big picture objective and the rules of the road. It's a real shift from being a reviewer to being a manager.
And at the very top, rung 5, we have the autonomous system. This is AI that runs like infrastructure. It's constantly monitoring, maintaining, and managing systems over long stretches of time. At this point, the human isn't even assigning tasks anymore. They're setting the overall policy. This is way closer to being a programmable employee than it is a simple chatbot.
So what's the engine that's powering this whole climb up the ladder? I mean, what separates a model that can only talk from one that can actually do things?
The answer is simple. It's tools. A tool is just a function that the AI model can call to interact with the world. It could be anything: searching a database, running a calculation, sending an email. This is the critical piece of the puzzle. Tools are what allow a model to break free from its static training data and interact with live, dynamic systems. Basically, everything we call agentic is built on this foundation. But climbing this ladder isn't exactly free. Each step up gives you amazing new capabilities, but it also brings new and pretty significant risks that we absolutely have to manage.
As we climb higher, we've got to keep our eye on 3 big risks. First is what's called error compounding, where one tiny mistake at the beginning can just snowball into complete failure. Second, runaway costs, because an autonomous agent can burn through a budget with terrifying speed. And third, all sorts of security vulnerabilities. I mean, when an AI can act, you've just created a powerful new way for bad guys to trick it into doing things it shouldn't. Let's look a little closer at the first 2, because the numbers can be, they can be staggering.
First up, error compounding. So imagine a model that gets things right 95% of the time on a single step. That sounds pretty reliable, right? But if you chain 10 of those steps together, your chance of success from start to finish drops to just 60%. And what about 100 steps? Forget it. You're looking at less than a 1% chance of success. It's wild how a tiny error rate can just snowball into total failure.
And second, those runaway costs. A simple chat might cost you a fraction of a penny. But an agent up on rung 4, exploring a problem, trying different paths, rereading its own work, it can easily spiral into millions of tokens. It is shockingly easy to rack up a $1,000 bill from a single bad agent run. Seriously, budget caps are not optional up here. They are absolutely essential. So what's the big takeaway here? The goal isn't to just climb as high as you possibly can. The goal is to find the right rung for the specific job you're trying to do.
Here are 3 practical rules to help you out. First, always, and I mean always, pick the lowest rung that actually gets the job done. Every step up adds cost and risk. Second, for anything on rung 3 or higher, you need to figure out how you're going to verify its work before you even start building. And third, design your system so it can fail gracefully by just falling back to a lower, simpler rung if it gets stuck. And here it is, your personal toolkit. The very next time you see some product being advertised as an AI agent, just ask these 4 questions. What tools does it have? How long can it run by itself? Who's in the loop and when? And maybe most importantly, what's the blast radius if it messes up? The answers to these questions will place any product on the ladder in about a minute, and you'll cut right through all that marketing hype.
Look, the promise of an AI that can truly act for us is very real. It's here. But to use it effectively and, more importantly, safely, we have to move past the vague hype of agentic AI. The whole conversation needs to get way more specific. So the question is no longer if we'll use these systems, but which rung should we be standing on for any given task?